It's called Staycation. It's a new single from Francie Conway. We're delighted to have Francie on the line now to chat about that. Francie, good morning to you.
Good morning, Francis. With weather like this, why go anywhere, eh?
This is it. And you're up around the Kildare Outlet Centre at the moment. You're pulled in to take the call. So you're on a bit of a staycation yourself, are you?
I'm actually on my way home to Kerry for a couple of days staycation with my son Rory.
Excellent.
I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, you're wearing the sunscreen anyway, are you?
Well, I mean, I've got a cap on and I'll have plenty of sunscreen, and hopefully I'll be out in Phoenix and Ballyhaig and Ghana and everything else over the next couple of days. So I'm delighted you're playing the single. Thank you so much indeed.
No problem. And it's ideal, I suppose, number one, because it's got a summer feel to it, and number two, I suppose that's what we're advised to do, even though I suppose a lot of people I see heading out and about today with the airports open, people allowed officially to travel today. But staycation is a word that's been on our mind for the last 16 months. I know some people don't like calling it staycation, but that seems to be the word these days. Listen, when did you get the idea for it, Francie, and how long did it take you to put it together?
Well, you see, this whole thing kind of started really during the lockdown, Francis, because lots of musicians started doing like live performances online and stuff when all our industry kind of went rock bottom. And I kind of decided this is a good opportunity for me to rediscover Francie Conway again and start writing some songs again, because that's what I was always good at. But in the last couple of years, after being off the road for quite a few years, when my son got unwell, and then, working with a lot of different other musicians, I kind of, Francie Conway was a little bit on the back burner. So I took the opportunity of the lockdown to start writing songs. I wrote a bunch of songs and started putting them out online. And one of them, I think a lot of your listeners might know, is the It's Happy Birthday song that's been floating all over the internet over the last year or so.
Yeah, instead of writing a happy birthday to everybody on social media, you decided to sing it to them.
Well, exactly. Well, you see, the thing was that I wrote the song for myself.
Yeah.
And then I thought, right, the people were in the lockdown, and I thought this will cheer people up. Right. So I just put the chorus together, just sang the chorus with Rory, and started sending it to people, wishing them happy birthday. Then they started sending it on to other people, and it's kept moving and moving. And then I stopped it, actually, Francis, on my birthday in June. And I'm only doing it for requests now. So I must tell you, the 3 requests so far, Hot Press asked us to do it for our president, Michael D. Higgins.
Yeah.
I got a request to do it for Chris Christopherson.
Wow.
Who I'm a big admirer of. And I got a request to do it for Colin Blunstone, the lead vocalist from The Zombies. And I would rate Colin and Freddie, the late Freddie Mercury, to be the 2 greatest vocalists that ever came out of Britain.
Excellent. Now, listen, you mentioned Rory there. There's a lot of people that are helping you on this song. It's not just yourself. Let's start with Rory, your son. He does a bit on it, and who else is involved as well?
Well, Rory, of course, is always involved with me.
Yeah.
And basically, our Hidden Gems album, we got such a response to the album, and I didn't want to bring out a single from the album because the album has its own vibe. It's constantly on the move, and different stations all over the world are picking different tracks.
Right.
So the record company in London said to me, what about we looking at To the Edge of Time? I'm not sure if you would remember that, but it was a huge hit for me in the 80s.
We played it last week. We played it last week.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we played it. Somebody looked it for the coffee break and we put it on last week.
Oh, that's priceless.
There you are.
The lads in London said, for the summer, they were thinking, should we re-look at To the Edge of Time because it could be a hit all over again?
Yeah.
And I said, that's not a bad idea. But I said, there's this one song I've written called Staycation that keeps kind of coming into my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a silence at the other end of the phone. And next thing, Jamie White went, what did you say, Staycation?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. And he said, we need that for BBC now. Right. I said, but you haven't heard the song. He said, I know it's a Francie Conway song. Let's just do it. And that was only the start of June, Francis.
Start of June.
And then the whole thing started. So I asked Matt Kelligan from Moving Hearts. Moving Hearts had a big connection with Kerry. Do you remember Moving Hearts?
I do indeed, yeah.
They used to play regularly in Castle Island and in Brandon and different places.
What was the one they had? Nagasaki Russian roulette or something like that?
That was actually, and that was actually the first time I ever saw them. I was living in Amsterdam at the time, and I remember I was home in Tralee on holidays, and Brian Gaffney said, this band were playing down to Brandon, and you have to come and see them. And when you only have a couple of nights on holiday, you kind of want to try and get in as much as possible.
Right.
But Brian said, no, you have to see these guys. And I will never forget when they came out on stage with Christy, Donald, Matt Kelligan on drums, Keith Donald, Owen O'Neill. I just was absolutely levelled. It was one of the most exciting experiences I ever had. But Matt and I and Pete Donald have been working together for many years. So I asked Matt Kelligan, would he like to join me on drums and production? And then I asked Chris White from the famous band The Zombies, who were just inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, would they be interested in doing some backing vocals with me?
Mm-hmm.
And they said yes. And then we got Dom Torsch in Switzerland, who I would rate to be, with Rod Argent and John Lord, would be the top Hammond organ players in the world. And then we wanted a groove merchant of a bass player, and we asked Peter Erdy, who lives in Stuttgart in Germany, to know would he join us on bass guitar. And then we did the video down in Kerry, Francis.
Right.
Have you any idea? There's a big discussion going on the internet to know where it was filmed. It was filmed in Kerry. Do any of your listeners know where it was filmed? I know, but I'm not going to say anything.
Well, you were there, weren't you?
I was definitely there. But the thing is, I've heard so many places at this stage, Francis.
Yeah.
I've heard, and I'm just going to throw it out. Do any of the listeners know where the video was filmed down in Kerry by the wonderful Eugene Murphy?
Okay, so the video is available on YouTube if anybody wants to have a look at it, and they might have a few guesses and let you know via social media. Listen, we got to let you go very shortly. Before we do that, though, on Friday I got a message from you. Very simply, it said California today, pretty cool for a lad from Tralee. Now, I thought you were actually in California, and I mentioned that you were listening in California, but actually the reason you mentioned California is the fact that the song has been played over there.
It is, yeah, on Lonely Oak Radio, picked up on it. And they've played it every day for the last, I think, since Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely fabulous. But, of course, it's that summer vibe, so it's kind of, and everybody's encouraging people to discover where they're from, explore our treasures, let's stick around. I mean, with weather like this, why go anywhere, Francis?
This is it. Yeah, go on.
For me, I have to say, I think Rory and I are possibly the only ones for years. When people see a plane going over, people would look up and say, oh, I'd love to be on that, I'd love to be on that. Anytime when Rory and I look up at a plane, we go saying, oh, I'd hate to be on that. I much prefer being here where we are. And so I think that's where the roots of the song came from, that love of being out west, being out Phoenix, Ballyhaig, Banna, Castle Gregory. I just adore all that,
Lots of comments as always, Francie. I'll just read one or two for you. This one says, the happy birthday song made my day. Thanks, Francie and Rory. And I thought it was me there for a minute. Don't give a name.
You can be part of that as well. You can sing along with us on the next one.
And also
special guest, Francis Jones from Radio Kerry.
Yeah. Wow. And Annie Locke wishes you well with the new single as well. Francie, before we say goodbye to you, where can you get the song?
The song is available on all the download platforms. The video is on YouTube, and basically we're just saying to people, please enjoy it. And I think everybody needs a little bit of a positive uplifting at this stage after the year and a half we've been through, and I hope our little contribution will help in a little way to get that little bit of a lift, Francis.
Excellent. Francie, we'll let you get back on the road again down to Kerry. Safe journey home. Good luck with the single. Big regards to Rory there, and also all the family as well. And as always, lovely talking to you. Francie, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much indeed, Francis.
Have a great week. Bless. God bless. Bye. That's Francie Conway, and giving us his thoughts on the song Staycation. This is it again. Just a little clip for you before we take a break.
rivers, lakes, mountains, the sea.